Hello and welcome back, friends. I am going to be doing another rehousing, this time of my Chromatopelma Cyaneopubescens. Honestly, the cage she's in right now isn't horribly small, but she's growing so fast, or he. Honestly, I'm beginning to suspect male. He's growing so fast that I feel it just makes more sense to rehouse him. And this, honestly, I could probably keep him in for the rest of his life, especially if it's a male, since they get a little bit on the smaller side. So I'm going to show you how I put together an enclosure. This is your average critter keeper. So, 8 by 12 by 8 again. Nothing too large, but we'll get started. I'll show you his old one, and this is how I do. Okay, so using a damp paper towel, I've just kind of wiped everything down, cleaned all the dust off of it. These clear plastic containers are nice, but they do tend to scratch easily, so they mark up. They're not as crystalline as glasses, and you can see, like, I have a bunch of dogs, so I get hairs everywhere. Pretty sure they're all on the outside, but here is her old container. And this one's really old and marked up. I started out as a fish tank, I do believe. I had a bed or something like that in there, but not anymore, as you can see. I had it decorated with a conch shell, piece of wood, some fake plants, a little dish over there. I read that these things really like it arid and dry, but I would dribble water like once a week down the web, and I've never seen it drink off of that. But I think with the new one, I'm just going to put a water dish in. It's insurance, and I think it's just better for the tea. And she or he molted recently. You'll see why I think it's a male when I start cleaning things out like real good and proper. Just the legs, the front legs are really long, and you can't see it at all due to the web, but if you want a species that webs the crap out of their enclosures, this is the way to go. For sure, they make a very pretty web. So I'm probably going to transfer the conch and the wood too. I'm just going to add a little bit more substrate. So starting with one like this. Now this isn't a species that needs things super moist. They don't need a lot of humidity. Like I said, I'm told they're kept very arid. They are from Venezuela. So once again, here's my little mixture. It's nothing special. It's cocoa fiber, it's topsoil, it's peat moss, it's this other kind of moss. It's full of springtails and isopods, and I just keep them in here. I figure they breed like crazy, and it's relatively moist. I don't add any water, but you can always see condensation on the edge, so take a couple good healthy scoops, trying not to mess up my carpet too bad. That's one healthy scoop. Now, again, I read when I first got this, and all the research I read said that they live semi-arboreally, but I don't know if that's really true. I think if you put things in there from the web up, they will, but I don't think that they really like perch up high. I think they really do like burrows like a terrestrial tarantula. I think natively they might build little funnel webs in grass, but don't know really, honestly. So I'm not going to put a ton of substrate in, but I'm going to put enough in that if it wants to dig around, it can. And one of the things I've noticed a lot on the internet, I did make a mess, is that people like to really judge each other's tarantula enclosures. I mean, to the point where it's ignorant, like, oh, there's not enough substrate, your tarantula is going to die, and just really stupid comments like that don't, let people keep their tarantulas. I can understand giving the warning like, hey, that's a really heavy-bodied terrestrial. It may need some more substrate, or the substrate is wrong, but to brutalize people how they keep their tarantulas doesn't make the hobby fun, doesn't keep people, you know, collecting, doesn't entice anybody. Like, you go on the forums and it's just constantly this barrage of, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong. There's a right way and a wrong way to correct people, and some people really do need correcting, but I don't think when you read the first 5 comments and they're like, there's not enough substrate, your tarantula's going to die tomorrow. That's ridiculous. Come on, guys. So I just pack that down ever so much just to give it a little more depth. And I think that's good. You know, it's got some nice moss in there. Okay, so I put a small water dish in there. I usually like to put a penny. Anything pre-1982, I believe it is, has a higher copper content, and that copper is actually kind of like a antibacterial, but for this purposes, it'll be all right. I can always add a penny later. Yeah, there we go. Kind of prop it on the wood there. And then if she wants to use it as a hide. Oh yeah, she can crawl under there. She can get up in the shell. It's got ventilation out the back, so no mold's gonna grow. I mean, I won't get to see her if she's in it, but I'll bet she'll like that. And then she can web the crap out of it, crawl on top of it. I think that looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good indeed. So now, I guess the only thing left is to get her in there. Yeah, look, she can crawl up in there. She'll really like that too. I found this conch shell. I was on vacation in the Outer Banks in North Carolina, and that's where I got it. Found it just floating on the beach, and it's really cool. And I don't know why people don't use more conchs, but she can dig all this out, and then, you know, as she grows, she'll get back in there and clean that all up and make that look, well, really make it to her liking, but also, like, she can crawl on top of it. She can pretty much do whatever she wants. I really like the look of that. It looks cool. Plenty of room for her, so. Alright, now I'm gonna get my tongs and let's just kind of look at this poor girl. She's like, why are you doing this to my home? She pretty much lived in a funnel web. She never really used the shell quite as its intended use. This web is so ridiculously strong. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a Chromatopelma Cyaneopubescens. They are well known for flicking hairs and for being bolty, but honestly, she seems okay. She hasn't done anything too crazy. I'll just test her temperature a little bit. Oh, look at how beautiful she is. Isn't she just gorgeous? And those front legs are really long, and that's why I kind of feel like usually long front legs will develop hooks that they use for mating, and with that really small abdomen, it really kind of looks like that's the way she could go. But I mean, just beautiful species. Let me stop shaking and moving around and actually zoom in. So they have this like emerald green carapace, beautiful blue, like a cobalt blue legs, and then that bright orange rump, and you can see it. Just beautiful spider. If you saw her when I first got her and she was this golden legged, tiger striped rumped, like black tarantula into what she is now, like beautiful. I think personally one of the most beautiful species of tarantula you can find. Relatively docile, a little bolty, very prone to kick hairs, but mine never has, and as you can see, she hasn't kicked hairs yet. Alright, I'm going to put the catch cup. You know what, I'm going to do this one of two ways. Is I'm going to push the closure up, and I'm going to put the catch cup in. Okay. Well, like I said, There's more than a couple ways to do this. So if she will just kindly bolt up and over, much obliged. Now these South American species can get really fast, really quick. So I don't want to scare her. But on the same hand, like, you know what? I will take that as a win. Just go the rest of the way. Oh, and we got a hair flicker. I don't know if you saw that cloud of hairs starting to float up. See the hairs floating in the air? So those can be pretty nasty if you get them in your eyes or in your mouth. I don't really react too bad just on my skin, but there she is. She's in her new home. She's in a defensive mode, so her butt's up, her legs raised. She's pretty much saying, like, touch me again, I dare you. Like, I was a good girl, now leave me the F alone. To which I will. I might try to feed her, but I mean, not a threat display, nothing like you get out of an OBT or any of the old world tarantulas, just using her hairs, being a new world species, a gorgeous new world species. And you know what, I think honestly, like, just a gorgeous species regardless of location. I don't see how you get prettier. So I'm gonna offer her a cricket real quick. Again, excuse the pause and jerking. Okay, so she's calmed down a little bit. I put in a cricket and right away just launched on it. Beautiful. That's what I like to see. You know, redirect their energy. I've seen a lot of rehousings online where people will rehouse them, stress them out, poke at them. I don't want to say be mean. You know, everybody is entitled to keep their tarantulas however they want. I'm no expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe in energies and I do believe in redirecting. So she was stressed out. She was really good in the beginning, and only towards the end did she get a little spooked, a little flighty. She cooperated, seemed to know what I wanted, and now I'm just redirecting that into hunting. So now you can see, like, crickets fighting. She pounced on it. She's gonna have a good meal. She's redirected. There's plenty of old web in her cage to make her feel familiar, and I think she's just gonna web this up. She's gonna use that shell as her hide. It's a lot bigger. She has more room to spread out. Maybe we'll see her more. Win, 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 win. So now I'm just going to feed some other tarantulas. But thank you so much for the rehousing. If you have any questions, please ask them. Again, I've only been keeping tarantulas since I was 8, but I'm not an expert. Like, when I first got this Chromatopelma, I read about arid. I even read so much as, like, people would take out the carcasses of the crickets and roaches because any bit of moisture they hated, which I don't think is true at all. I think spiders are 1,000,000 years old because they're super adaptive, and I think that this species has been kept in captivity long enough that as long as you provided a hide, food, a decent place, like a decent amount of room, I think they thrive. I think we're way too critical as keepers. Yeah, you want to try to emulate their natural surroundings as much as you can, but I think you can go overboard trying to reach perfection. So really just provide them with what they want. They want a place to get out of the field of view. They need a little bit of water. They need food. They need to be left alone, and that's that. This isn't a species I would try to handle, although I don't think she'd really react too adversely to it, other than probably kick a bunch of hairs. It's just a beautiful species. Everybody ought to have one. Everybody. I know my flash isn't on right now for some reason, but just a gorgeous, gorgeous species. And I'm going to let her enjoy her cricket, and we'll get to feeding some other ones.